My dear friend, when we step into our 50s, then our 60s, and 70s, our bodies begin to speak to us in a different language. Not loud, not dramatic like when we were young, but in soft whispers. Sometimes a heaviness in the legs, sometimes a bit of numbness after sitting too long, and sometimes a sudden leg cramp that pulls you out of sleep in the middle of the night. There is something very important I want you to know, something many older adults have never truly been told. Between the ages of 50 and 80, our blood circulation naturally slows down. Blood flows down into the legs easily, but coming back up toward the heart becomes harder. And when blood lingers too long in the calves, those muscles don't receive the nourishment they once did. They become sensitive, quicker to tighten, quicker to react, especially at night. One of my patients, David, who is now 74, once told me, "Margaret, I don't understand. I'm fine during the day, but the moment I lie down, it feels like someone is squeezing my calf." Have you ever felt that way? It seems like such a small thing, yet it's enough to shatter your entire night. What's interesting is that our body isn't trying to punish us. It's trying to send us a message. As circulation slows with age, our muscles simply need more attention. Like an old friend who has walked beside us for decades but now moves a little slower and needs a gentler touch, a bit more patience, a bit more care. I remember a patient, Helen, 69 years old, who looked at me and said, "I didn't think my legs would grow old this quickly." I held her hand and replied, "It's not that your legs age quickly, it's that we haven't been paying close enough attention to how they work." You see, throughout our lives, our legs have carried us across countless roads, to work, to raise our children, to keep our families going, to move through busy days, and to stand firm through difficult seasons. And when you finally sleep at night, that is the first moment your legs get real rest. And that's when everything that has been building up, poor circulation, long hours of sitting, tight muscles, finally reveals itself. I want you to imagine this. A river, when young, rushes, flows, and pushes past every bend. But as time passes, the river softens, slows down. It doesn't lose its strength. It simply needs gentle guidance to keep moving. Your circulation is that river. When blood doesn't move well, the calves become the place where things settle. Those muscle fibers, already carrying the entire weight of your body all day, begin to tighten more easily. And when you lie down, your body relaxes, your nervous system calms. But the parts of your legs that didn't get enough blood react by squeezing tight, almost as if they're calling out, "Hey, please pay attention to me." I've met so many patients who think leg cramps are a small issue, but you and I both know when it hits at 2 or 3 a.m., it's anything but small. It makes you sit up, breathe hard, clutch the blanket, and even when the pain fades, sleep doesn't come back the same way. Sleep is often called the medicine of older adults, and when you lose it, you lose the day that follows. I once had an older gentleman joke with me, "Margaret, my legs work harder at night than they do during the day." We laughed, but then he looked down at his legs and said softly, "I just want one peaceful night." Have you ever wished for that? One peaceful night. No jolting awake, no pain, no fear. When circulation slows, when blood struggles to return to the heart, the body becomes more vulnerable. But here's what matters most. This is not the end of anything. It doesn't mean you're weak or that your health is slipping away. It simply means you've entered a new chapter, one where your body needs a gentler, more thoughtful kind of care. I often tell my patients, aging is a kind teacher. It teaches us how to listen. And if you're here watching this video, it means you're ready to listen to your body, ready to make small changes that matter, ready to let your legs, those loyal companions of so many years, finally get the rest they deserve. In the next part of this video, I'll share not only why these cramps happen, but also what you can do to ease them. Simple, safe, effective steps I've used for more than 40 years, working with adults over 50. But before we move forward, I want you to place your hand gently on your calf for just a moment. Feel its warmth. Feel the life inside those muscles. And ask yourself, when was the last time I truly cared for these legs? If the answer is, I don't remember, Then today we begin. Now let's take a deeper look at what's truly happening inside your body. Because once you understand the why, the how to fix it becomes much easier. Almost natural. When I talk about circulation slowing down, many people imagine it as something scary, but I want you to see it through another lens, a softer one. Aging doesn't suddenly shut doors inside the body. It simply changes how the doors open. Your veins, the ones carrying blood back toward the heart, rely on tiny valves and gentle muscle contractions in the legs. Think of them like little elevator doors, opening and closing, helping blood travel upward. When we're young, those elevators move quickly. But after 50, they begin to move, like an older elevator in an old building. Still working, still dependable, but slower, more deliberate. And when blood waits too long on one floor, especially in the calves, the muscles begin to protest. Not out of anger, but out of need. One of my patients, a woman named Evelyn, told me something that stayed in my heart. She said, "Margaret, it feels like my legs are trying to tell me a story every night, but I don't know how to listen." I smiled and told her, "Your body is always talking. We just forget how to hear it." So let me translate some of these messages for you. When you feel a sudden tightening in your calves at night, it's rarely random. It's often your muscles saying, "I didn't get enough circulation today," or "I stayed in one position too long," or sometimes, "I'm tired, but you didn't give me a chance to stretch." And there's something else, something subtle but incredibly important. As we age, our nerves become a bit more sensitive. Just like our emotions become deeper, our nerves also respond more strongly. So the same tiny signal that wouldn't bother you at 30 suddenly feels like a sharp jolt at 65. I often describe it like this. If your muscles were a guitar string, time tightens the tuning. And when a string is tuned too tight, even the smallest touch can make it snap. But here's the truth I want you to hold close. Your muscles do not want to hurt you. They want relief. They want warmth. They want movement. Gentle, steady, loving movement. Another gentleman I worked with, Richard 78, once asked me, "Why does my body cause me the most trouble at night when all I want is peace?" I answered him gently, "Because night is the first moment you stop moving, and that's when the body finally shows you everything it carried during the day." Sometimes the quiet moments reveal the most, and if you've ever lain awake, massaging your calf in the dark, breathing through the discomfort, whispering, "Please stop," I want you to know you are not alone. So many older adults experience the exact same struggle silently. They think it's just part of getting old. But it's not something you simply have to endure. The body changes, yes, but it also responds beautifully to attention, to small acts of care, to gentle routines that help restore what time has slowed. In the next part of this video, I'm going to show you the simple steps, the ones I teach all my patients, that bring circulation back to your calves, relax your muscles, and help you sleep without fear of being jolted awake. But for this moment, just breathe. Place your hand gently on your leg again. Feel its warmth, feel its weight, feel its history, and maybe whisper to it, "I'm listening now." Because that, my friend, is where healing always begins. My dear friend, there's something many older adults don't realize. We spend far too much of our day sitting to read, sitting to watch TV, sitting at the computer, sitting while doing chores, or even sitting and chatting with friends without noticing how quickly the hours pass. And then at night, when you finally lie down to rest, your legs, which have held the same position for so long, begin to speak up. After more than 40 years working with people over 50, I've noticed a pattern that's impossible to ignore. Sitting for long periods makes the calf muscles freeze. Not freeze as in cold, but stiffen, lose flexibility, like a rubber band stretched out all day that never gets the chance to soften again. So when you lie down at night, your muscles finally have a moment to release, yet instead of relaxing, they snap. They tighten suddenly. And that, my friend, is when a leg cramp arrives. Have you ever felt that? During the day, everything feels fine, nothing unusual. But at night, the moment your head touches the pillow and your body begins to let go, Your calf tightens, sometimes gently, sometimes with a sharp pain that forces you to sit up instantly. One of my patients, Michael, 71 years old, once told me, "Margaret, I only watch a little TV, so why do I get cramps every night?" I smiled and asked, "How long is a little one, Michael?" He chuckled softly. "Maybe 3 hours. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? 3 hours. Sometimes 4 or 5. Disappear quickly when you're absorbed in a show or lost in a good book. But for your muscles, every minute matters. Your calves aren't being stretched, aren't being activated, aren't receiving proper circulation. And just like any part of the body that isn't used often enough, they become sluggish, heavy, less responsive. Let me help you imagine something. Think of a door that hasn't been opened in a long time. When you turn the handle, it creaks, hesitates, and you may even need to push harder for it to open. Your muscles, especially your calves, are that door. When they aren't opened regularly through movement, stretching, and standing up throughout the day, then the moment you ask them to relax, they resist. They tighten instead. I often tell my patients that the older body has a special kind of memory. It remembers every little habit, the good ones and the not so good ones. If you sit too long, your muscles remember the stillness. If you barely move, your muscles remember that too. So at night when you rest, your body simply continues the pattern it practiced all day. Stiffness, tension, slow response. And that is why nighttime cramps happen so easily. During a consultation, Linda, 67, once asked me, "Margaret, why do my legs tighten every time I lie down? It feels like there's a strange connection between resting and hurting." I smiled gently and explained, "It's not lying down that causes the pain. It's the long hours of sitting that give the pain a place to hide. And lying down is simply the moment it finally comes out." I want you to take a quiet moment and reflect on your day-to-day. How many times did you stand up? How many steps did you take? Did you stretch your legs every 45 to 60 minutes? Or did you let your legs stay still for too long, long enough to slip into a kind of hibernation? Science is very clear. When muscles stay still for extended periods, they receive less oxygen, less blood flow, and they lose elasticity. That makes them more sensitive, more reactive. So when you shift position from sitting to lying down, the sudden change triggers the muscle to contract like a reflex. Many older adults believe leg cramps are simply part of aging. But I truly believe, and I've watched countless patients prove this, that many nighttime cramps can be significantly reduced just by changing the habit of sitting too long. Remember this, your legs have carried you through decades of life. They've taken you everywhere you needed to go. They've held your weight, supported your busy days, and walked with you through difficult seasons. They deserve a little more of your awareness. They deserve for you to stand up a few times throughout the day. They deserve stretching, gentle movement, warmth, and care. Before you move on to the next part of this video, where I'll show you a few simple techniques to wake up your calf muscles, improve circulation, and ease those cramps, I want you to do one small thing, just one. Stand up, right now. Stretch your calves gently. Feel that tiny pull. Feel the warmth traveling down to your feet. This is how you tell your legs, "I'm here, I'm paying attention to you." And your legs will thank you more than you can imagine. Now that you're standing, stretching just a little, I want to take you deeper into the truth behind these nighttime cramps. Because understanding your body is one of the most powerful tools you have. Let me tell you something I've noticed after meeting thousands of older adults over the decades. We don't realize how still life becomes as we get older. And the body, especially the muscles of the legs, was never designed for stillness. When we were younger, movement happened naturally. We hurried to work. We chased after children. We walked from place to place. Life pulled us forward. But somewhere past 50, movement becomes optional. The world slows down, and so do we. And while the heart might appreciate the peace, the muscles quietly suffer from it. One afternoon, a patient named Samuel, 76, looked at me with a puzzled expression and said, "I only sit because I'm tired, Margaret. Isn't resting supposed to be good for me?" And I told him something I want to tell you now. Resting is good, but resting too long becomes the opposite of rest. Because when you sit for hours, blood settles. It pools. It takes its time in the lower legs. And your muscles, which depend on movement to stay flexible and warm, begin to shrink in their comfort zone. They stop stretching. They stop expanding. They stop working. Think of it like this. A garden that's left untouched doesn't stay the same. It stiffens. It dries. It loses its softness, its life. Muscles behave in the very same way. And then, nighttime comes. You lie down, expecting rest, but the moment your legs are no longer holding your body upright, the moment they realize the day is finally over, everything they've been holding on to starts to show. Tension, stiffness, little knots of tightness you didn't even feel during the day. All of it begins to surface, and sometimes that release is gentle. Sometimes it's just a small twitch, and sometimes, especially if the muscle has been frozen all day, it becomes that sharp, sudden, painful cramp that steals your sleep. Have you ever wondered why it almost always happens at night? Why not midday? Why not when you're walking or cooking or doing chores? It's because nighttime is when the body feels safe enough to let go. And letting go, ironically, is what triggers the tension that has been hiding inside. Another patient of mine, sweet Eleanor, 68, once sighed and said, "It's like my legs wait until I finally relax, and then they punish me." I held her hand and told her gently, "They're not punishing you. They're asking for help, in the only language they know." And the more I've listened to my patients, the more I realize this. Nighttime cramps are not failures of the body. They are signals, honest, urgent, and deeply human. Signals that say, I need better circulation. I need movement. I need warmth. I need attention. Your legs have carried you through so much. Miles of walking, years of work, moments of joy, worry, responsibility, and love. They've steadied you when life felt heavy. They've taken you exactly where you needed to go. And now they are simply asking you to steady them in return. In a moment, I'm going to show you how, with gentle techniques and simple habits that are easy, safe, and incredibly effective. These are methods I've taught for decades, the same ones that have helped countless adults sleep peacefully again. But before we move into the exercises, pause for just one breath. Look down at your legs, these familiar companions of your entire life. Let yourself feel gratitude for them. Let yourself be present with them, because healing doesn't begin with stretching or massage or nutrition. Healing begins with awareness, with noticing, with listening. And right now, simply by being here with me, you're already beginning to heal.